It's not ending here in Philly. Never, no way, baby.
Could the return of Yager keep the Pens alive against the Devils? The Canes were down to their last straw against the big bad Bruins. The Blues faced elimination against some hungry Coyotes. And the NFL loses one of its all-time greatest players.
I can't do it physically anymore. And that's really hard for me to say.
Tatis looked to tee off on the Expos at the Big O. The Blue Jays weren't wasting any time against the Mariners. It was a playoff-like atmosphere as the Jazz and Spurs did battle. Montoya was turning the cart world upside down at the Bosch Sparkplug Grand Prix. Mika wasn't quite hacking it during F1 action. It was an emotional day for Stuart Appleby at the Houston Open. So sit back and relax. We've got all the hair-raising action. We're next. Hi, everyone. Teresa Cruz along with David Pratt for this edition of Sports Desk. Glad to have you with us. And we're going to begin with the hockey playoffs, David.
Well, 5 years is a long time to wait for anything, but that's how long it's been since the last time the Toronto Maple Leafs won a playoff series.
Well, how long has it been since the Flyers won an elimination game? That answer, 10 years. It was Game 5 in the 1989 Wales Conference Final against Montreal that Philadelphia last won the game that counted the most. So facing elimination in the first round for the second year in a row, the Flyers were pressing hard against the Leafs on Sunday night. The key for Toronto locking up the series, more stunning goaltending by Curtis Joseph, sporting a 1.75 goals against average in the series. Flyers with the pressure early. The feed to Mark Recchi in the slot, the kick saved by Cujo. Then Dan McGillis' point shot rings off the iron. Frustrated, Philly reverts to their crash and bash play, taking the smaller Leaf forwards out as Carl Dykhouse showing Yannick Perreault into the boards. In the second period, the scoreless tie almost broken. Joseph trips up handling the puck behind the net. Michael Anderson the shot. Brian Berard making the skate save. The Flyers agitators get to work, drawing some questionable penalty calls. Chris McAllister tagged his right to Jones. Berard's phantom cross-check sold by Keith Jones. Jody Hull's dive gets Steve Thomas put in the box. But the Flyers' power play is unable to get a goal, and it's still scoreless through 2 periods of play. In the third, the 5th straight Toronto penalty. Mike Johnson nailed for slashing on Zelepukin for the Flyers' 5th straight power play. At the end of that penalty, Johnson out of the box intercepts and is alone on Van Beesbrook, but Bees are shutting the door. 2 minutes to go now in the third controversy. John LeClair into the boards with the elbow on Johnson. LeClair couldn't believe the call. Listen to the fans. A Toronto power play with under 3 minutes to go. So the Leafs pressuring. The puck will bounce off of Adam Burt. Over to Sergei Berezin. Scoops it up and scores. Toronto's got the lead with a minute to go. So could the deflated Flyers draw even? They've got one last chance to do it. They're all in front of the net. But the shot gets deflected high. Curtis Joseph's stunning 26-save performance carries Toronto into the second round. So the Maple Leafs become the first team to ever win a best-of-7 series without scoring 3 or more goals in any of the games. And so they win it in 6 games despite being outscored by the Flyers in total for the series 11-9. And the Flyers eliminated in the first round for the second straight year. And after the game, Phillies owner Ed Snider had some choice words about the officiating.
The officiating in this league is a damn disgrace. When they decide games, that's when we're in real trouble. Did you see what happened to Hall, Jody Hall, before that, and Gregson was looking right at it? The guy almost took his head off. And John does this little thing, and he calls a 2-minute penalty with 2 minutes left in the game. He's trying to decide the game, and he's a lousy goddamn official. I don't care how much I get fined because the truth is the truth, and everybody in the stands knows it. Everybody in this city knows it. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a disgrace, the officiating in this league. I'm sick to my stomach that this man would call this against John LeClair, one of the cleanest players in the league, after Jody Hall's head was almost taken off, and we have film showing that Gregson was looking right at it. Gregson was looking right at it. So I don't know what's with this guy, but I'll tell you one thing. I'd like to see what he's all about. Because as far as I'm concerned, he decided to decide the game, not the players.
Why do you think he'd do that?
I have no idea why he would do that. You have to ask him. Where was he born? Toronto? I don't really know.
Don't sugarcoat it now. The New Jersey-Pittsburgh series has been like a scene out of an old Western movie. The Penguins have been holding on, waiting for the cavalry to arrive. Well, on Sunday, it finally showed up. Jaromir Jagr was back in the lineup after missing the last 4 games. Jágr tested his injured groin in the warm-up and then decided, yeah, it was ready to go for game time. Jágr did not take too long to get involved in this one. He throws an elbow at Scott Stevens, and he was gone for 2. Still in the first period, the Devils strike first. Bobby Holik sends it in front to Sergei Bralin. His shot beats Tom Barrasso, and just like that, it was 1-0 for the Devils. In the second period, Pittsburgh comes out flying. Watch this. Alexei Kovalev with the great pass to Martin Straka. That tied the game up at 1-1. Then Jágr has a golden chance to break the tie right here. Martin Brodeur makes the save, and it's cleared away. There was no damage done. In the third, the Devils get on the power play. Jason Arnott with the shot. It goes off Scott Niedermayer. That made it 2-1 for the Devils. But Jágr came to play in this one. He works the give and go with German Titov. Jágr sets up in his office right at the side of the net. Email this, baby. We are going to overtime. All tied up at 2. In overtime, Straka takes the pass, and then he does all the work here. He breaks in along the board, sends it across to Jágr. No mistake. There will be a game 7. 3-2 is the final. Jaromir Jágr is back. Kovalev also continues to be hot for the Pens. He had 2 assists, giving him 8 points in his last 5 games. The Pens deal the Devils their 6th straight overtime loss in the playoffs.
On to the Canes and Bruins now. Carolina on the ropes. Ironman Ray Bourque logged over 53 minutes of ice time in Game 5. Carolina tries to draw the first blood on the power play. Keith Primo tries to wrap it in. Glenn Wesley puts the rebound off of Defoe's pad. Now the Bruins on the power play. Jason Allison centers to Dmitry Kristich to Joe Thornton. Thornton's first to the playoffs, making it 1-0 for the Bruins. Well, the Canes try again. Primo with a wide-open net. It actually went through his legs. Comes up empty. Second period, the Canes looking for the equalizer. Bates Battaglia to Robert Cron, the open net, and he misses. Battaglia thought he had the helper. So the Canes keep trying. Sammy Kapanen with the drive. Big rebound to Gary Roberts. Open net, misses it. Bruins come right back. Anson Carter, the give and go with Steve Hines, goes 5-hole. Carter's 3rd of the season, postseason, 2-0 Bruins. That was enough as the Bruins win 2-0, defeating the Hurricanes in 6. So the Bruins win their first playoff series since 1994 when they defeated the Montreal Canadiens in the first round. Jason Allison had 1 assist for the Bruins. He recorded at least 1 point in every game of this series.
Let's get on to the Blues and the Coyotes now. You know, Phoenix has lost 8 straight playoff series dating back to 1987, but the Dogs bite first in this one. Mike Stapleton from the top of the circle, and it was 1-0. But just 26 seconds later, Craig Conrad flies down the wing, and he beats Javi Bulin, and the game was all tied up. Then the Blues get on the power play. Pierre Turgeon fakes the shot right here, centers it over to Scott Young, and that made it 2-1 for the Blues. After that, the teams really tightened up in the second period. Brad Shaw and Scott Young take care of Teppo Numminen. Ouch. Later in the period, Tverdovsky will wind up and then ring this one off the post. The rebound is fanned on, but Stephen Leach right there to put it home, and it was all tied up at 2. In the third period now, it was tied at 3. Once again, the Blues cash in. Pierre Turgeon from behind the net. He gets it out in front to Jeff Finley. He buries it, and it was 4-3 for the Blues, and they were going nuts in St. Louis. Phoenix finally got a chance to tie it. Leach in close, but Grant Fuhrer makes the big save. From there, the Blues break out 3-on-1. 1 save, 2 saves. Finally, Conway scores. It will be a whiteout in Phoenix because there will be a Game 7. Finley's game-winning goal was his first postseason goal in 18 career playoff games. Fuhrer moves past Billy Smith into second place with 89 wins in the playoffs. This country's men's national hockey team is still alive. The program had been given until Saturday to raise $300,000 to offset its operating expenses. It came up with $274,000. However, Canadian hockey president Bob Nicholson insists the program must put together a sound fiscal plan if it is to survive.
Another great sports icon called it a career on Sunday as John Elway retired after 16 memorable seasons with the Denver Broncos. No more will we see another of his thrilling fourth-quarter comebacks, but Elway said he knew in his heart that now was the right time to say goodbye.
This is hard. There's an over-under in the locker room from what I heard last night on how many times I'm going to cry. So I'm trying to bet on the under, but it's been great, and it was tough. It was a tough decision, but it wasn't. And I really don't look at it as retirement. I look at it as graduation. We all graduate from high school. We graduate from college. I'm just graduating from pro football. It's time for me to move on. I can't do it physically anymore. And that's really hard for me to say. Ooh.
Now you know why I only spent 2 minutes up there.
I know it. Are there any other questions? Oh, yeah, the line. I don't know what the line is, but I've lost my bet.
The thing that was, so impressive to me was the concentration level and the poise in thriving on pressure. He knew, he believed that he was so prepared, so physically in shape, that if he was put in that situation, he would win. And that's why, as Pat just said, I believe he's the best quarterback ever to play the game.
I want to thank Denver, because Denver's been great. Colorado's been great to us, to me and my family, and kind of took us under their wing, and it's been, we couldn't have asked for anything better. And the fans, the support that we've had, been unbelievable. There was no more joy than winning that Super Bowl, that first one, and having all the Bronco fans be able to say, you know what, we're world champs. And to me, that's what it was all about, because they'd suffered through so many different years that winning that Super Bowl, and that's the thing that I'm most proud of, is to be able to say that, have the fans that had been there for so long walk around and say, you know what, we're world champs. And then to do it again last year, I couldn't be happier.
Stay tuned, because later on the show, we'll take a closer look at some of John Elway's most amazing comebacks over his 16-year NFL career. Still ahead on Sports Desk, Fernando Tatis is getting that long-distance.
2 goals in the win, and the best-of-7 series all tied up at 3, with Game 7 set for Tuesday night in Phoenix.
For us not to establish a forecheck, it has a double negative effect on us. It limits our scoring chances, and then we spend too much time in our own zone, which wears our D down and creates scoring chances for the Blues. So I think if I had to pick one thing as a major flaw or weakness in our game, it would be that today.
Thoughts on this now going to a 7th and deciding game in your home ice?
Yeah, well, we're going to win Game 7.
That's what it comes down to. It was 60 minutes of you win, you go on, you lose, you back it up. But still like our chances. You know, we're a solid hockey team. We got solid guys in here. We'll rebound.
This segment of Sports Final is brought to you by UPS, moving at the speed of your business.
You guys hear that?
Ahead on this edition of Sports, tragedy strikes the hockey world in Carolina.
We're shocked and saddened today with the passing of Steve Chiasson.
In baseball, the Montreal Expos try not to throw their game away against the Dodgers. And Boomers busting up things for the Blue Jays in Seattle. The Orioles and Cubans engage in diamond diplomacy in Baltimore. And the Knicks in the NBA look to turn it up against the Celtics in their playoff hunt. You'll get a kick out of the plays of the week, so hold on to your shorts. A high-flying edition of Sports Desk is coming up next. Hi again, and welcome to the show. Rod Smith in Toronto with Dave Randorf in Vancouver. Last year, Dave, Colorado had the Edmonton Oilers right where it wanted them, leading 3-1, only to let it all slip away. A lesson not wasted, or was it?
Well, I don't know. They've let a big lead slip away against the San Jose Sharks as well, but everybody was wondering, have the real Colorado Avalanche finally shown up in this series, or what? After taking a beating on their home ice in Game 4, Colorado did bounce back and whipped the Sharks in Game 5 to take a 3-2 series lead. But the Sharks had proven to everyone they are not going away easily, and any more overconfidence from the Avs would surely mean a Game 7. Mike Vernon back between the pipes for San Jose after resting for Game 5. He was tested early. Theo Fleury walks out, fires through a crowd. Vernon got him with a pad. Then Sharks in the power play. Vinny Danfus to Friesen on the doorstep, but Patrick Awa was there. No love lost here. Claude Lemieux is going to dump Mike Reichin, and Forsberg with a little extra shot just for extra measure here. Ex-teammates there. Still in the first, Adam Foote feathers it to Lemieux. Vernon gets the toe and stops Sakic, or knocks it just wide. Second period, still no score. Forsberg with a shot. It is blocked. Fleury follows and beats Vernon. That's his third of the playoffs. 1-0 Avalanche. But the Sharks respond on the power play. Bill Holder walks in, and a knuckler fools Patrick Roy. That's Holder's third of this series, and it's all tied up 1-1. Third period, getting rough. Aaron Miller, the elbow on Marco Sturm. No penalty, and Sturm left the game with a jaw injury, and he was woozy. Then Chris Drury takes Marcus Ragnarsson into the boards with the gate open. Ragnarsson left with a hip contusion. The Sharks don't relent. Joe Murphy slips it to Adam Foote. His shot is blocked. Friesen collects the garbage, and it's 2-1 San Jose. But Friesen promptly then took a terrible interference penalty, and the Avs made him pay on the power play. Sandis Ozolish, 2-2. Under 40 seconds to go. Roy down and out. Rouse with the empty net, but somehow it's blocked by one of the players in front. To OT. The Sharks had a 4-minute power play. They had 2 posts in that OT. Bad sign, because you know it's only a matter of time, and there is your winner. Milan Hajduk with his second overtime winner of this series. Pretty clutch stuff for a rookie, and the Avalanche win it 3-2, and with that finally eliminate a very game San Jose Shark team. Joe Sakic points in all 6 games. He had an assist on that goal as well. 3 goals and 9 assists. Right behind him, Theo Fleury with 11 points in this series, 3 goals and 8 helpers. And you know what this means, everybody who loves hockey out there. Colorado, Detroit, second round. Bring it on.
When the Carolina Hurricanes awoke Monday morning, the loss of a playoff series in Boston the night before no longer meant anything. They'd lost a teammate and a friend. Defenseman Steve Chiasson was killed on his way home in a single-vehicle accident near Raleigh.
We're shocked and saddened today with the passing of Steve Chiasson. This is a tragedy that none of us can put into words.
Chiasson was returning home from the airport when his pickup truck went off the road, flipped over, and threw him from the vehicle. A Highway Patrol spokesperson said that preliminary investigations indicated that speeding and alcohol were involved, although results of blood alcohol tests were not available.
He was the kind of guy everybody wanted to be around, and certainly a big member with his teammates, and just a real ordinary guy that loved the game of hockey and loved the people around him.
In our environment, we have a family amongst players, an extended family amongst wives and children that go to school together and play on sports teams together. And it's really an environment unlike any other. There's no other way to put it except for we've lost a member of our family.
Chiasson had a stellar OHL career with the Guelph Platers. He was Memorial Cup MVP in 1986. He'd been drafted by the Detroit Red Wings in 1985 and played 8 seasons with the Wings, leading the team's defensemen in scoring in 88-89 and 89-90, and earning an All-Star berth in 93. The following season, he was dealt to Calgary, where he played for 2.5 seasons, posting 74 of his 398 career points. In the middle of the 96-97 season, he was traded to the then Hartford Whalers, remaining with the team for the move to Carolina. After missing the playoffs for 2 seasons with the Hurricane franchise, but winning a gold medal at the World Championships in 1997, Chiasson returned to the postseason this year, scoring the final goal of his career in Game 5 against the Bruins.
Like all of us, Steve loved the game of hockey. He was a skilled player. He took a youthful approach to the game. He was a man of tremendous character and a loving father. We'll all miss him.
Steve Chiasson was 32. He leaves behind his wife Susan and 3 children, 2 boys, Michael, age 7, Ryan, age 4, and a daughter, Stephanie, just 2 years old.
A tragedy that struck every hockey fan I spoke to on Monday. To baseball, and you have to wonder whether Felipe Alou has any second thoughts at all. This past offseason, the LA Dodgers were dying to have Alou manage their high-priced team, but Alou, whose wife is from Montreal, surprised just about everybody when he announced he would stay with the Expos, despite all the uncertainty on and off the field. And guess who was in town on Monday? Montreal, facing the Dodgers, a Major League worst 3-13 at home, the worst fielding team in baseball. And right off the bat, the ump is telling Felipe to put a zipper on things. Maybe all that patience is starting to wear thin here. He was having a tough time watching this as well. Fourth inning, 1-0 Dodgers. Todd Hundley adds to that, making it 3-0 LA. Now, how often have you seen this? Chan Ho Park taking forever to throw the ball. The ump finally says, we don't have all night here. Dustin Hermanson, you take first. And Davey Johnson says, say what? According to Section 8, Paragraph 4 of the rule book, Ho took more than 20 seconds to throw the ball. So, there you go. But this sums up the Expos outing. Same inning, Orlando Cabrera goes to right. Hermanson is going home. Then he says, no, I'm not. He slams on the brakes, and before you know it, he is nailed at third. The classic type of play we've been seeing from the Expos. Unfortunately, this season, they went on to lose this one. A big 7-0 is the final in front of 5,100 at the Big O. And Davey Johnson, the guy the Dodgers obviously went on to hire as their manager, he picks up career win number 1,000.
The Toronto Blue Jays, meanwhile, need a bit of a tune-up after a long and not so prosperous 11-game road trip. It ended Monday in Seattle with the same sort of shaky pitching that's plagued the Jays ever since they left Sky Dome a week and a half ago. On this road trip, heading into this final day, the bullpen was 0-6 with a 6.29 ERA. Enough to give any manager fits, including Jim Fregosi, anxious to get home. A 2-8 road trip heading into this game. Second inning, though, Carlos Delgado. Hey, the Jays have had a lot of power on the trip, and there's more of it. His 7th of the year. It's 1-all. Still second, Freddie Garcia can't keep the changeup down, and Jose Cruz Jr. picks up a 2-run shot against his old team. 3-1 Jays. Third inning, 3-all. More Carlos. This one heading to left field into the corner. 5-3 Jays with 2 runs coming in. They'd score 5 in the third inning and lead at 9-3 in the fourth, and David Wells starts to struggle. Russ Davis, straightaway center. That's a 2-run shot. His 6th, that's 9-5. You think they're getting that queasy feeling? Mel Queen as well. 3 batters later, little Rafael Bornegal flexing his muscles. A 2-run shot, Jays by 2. The lead is down to just 2 runs, and it's rectified in the 9th with a home run by Sean Green. That's 3 runs. And then next batter, Carlos Delgado. Back-to-back home runs for the Blue Jays. Delgado second of the game. And the Jays go on to win this game 16-10. Just another high-scoring road trip game for the Toronto Blue Jays. Delgado setting a new Blue Jays record with 5 runs scored in the one game, and Sean Green's homer tying him with Jose Canseco and Matt Williams for the Major League lead. So the Jays do end on a winning note, but they come home with a 3-8 road trip. Meanwhile, Tigers pitcher Brian Moeller has been suspended 10 days for doctoring baseball. The Devil Rays suspected Moeller was scuffing, and they had been collecting balls throughout the game. Plate umpire Larry Barnett said it was Moeller's attempted sleight of hand that made him suspicious. He spotted the sandpaper, a piece smaller than a dime, and he tossed the Tiger pitcher. First suspension for doctoring baseball since Joe Niekro and Kevin Gross 12 years ago. Coming up, a Cuban baseball team plays in the U.S. and a wrestling match breaks out.
Well, in KC, another Cuban launches an assault against the Royals.
The Norwegians 4-2 to improve to 2-0. Rob Blake, Scott Thornton, Stefan Quintel, Adam Graves, all scoring for Canada. Will take on Italy Wednesday, and our World Championship coverage begins this Sunday at 11:50 a.m. Eastern, 8:50 Pacific. It's a second-round game, so the opponent has yet to be determined. Whoever it is, you can watch it here on TSN.
All right, back to baseball. And some people say it's a significant historical event that just happened to take place on the baseball field. Scouts feel it's a great chance to see new players. Monday night, the Baltimore Orioles hosted a Cuban national team on U.S. soil. The O's played in Cuba back in March. One fan at Camden Yards summed it up this way, saying, this is about baseball, and it's just time for everyone to come together. And come together they did. The Cuban team, thinking about revenge for the last game, and a loud cheering section helped pump them up. After a 56-minute rain delay, play resumed in the first, and this was no fun for the Orioles, just like any other game they played. Top of fifth, crazy incident when a fan got on the field, and the ump decides to take matters into his own hand and wrestle him to the ground. Kind of. Finally, the cops showed up and said, you know what? This is a Cuban ump, by the way. Cesar Valdez. Don't worry, we'll handle it from here. He says, okay, thanks. I didn't really enjoy that anyway. Bottom of the 8th, 7-3 Cuba. Jorge Vera pitching a gem. Gets Albert Bell looking. 7 no-hit innings. What a thrill that must have been for him. Top of 9, 9-3 Cuba. Andy Morales rips one deep to right, center, and gone. 3-run shot, 12-3 Cuba. And check out the reaction. Big thrill for these players. Cuba all over him, 12-6.
2 years ago, the most famous Cuban baseball player was Livan Hernandez, who won a World Series with Florida. Last year, his half-brother, Orlando El Duque, defected and won it all with the Yanks. Orlando was on the hill for New York and Kansas City Monday night as they look to take 3 of 4 from the Royals. There is El Duque. He's held the opposition to 3 runs or less in 4 of his 5 starts. Bottom 1, 2 on. Larry Sutton delivers a 2-out double. Adrian Beltran and Johnny Damon come into count and make it 2-0 Casey. They'd be all over El Duque. Then bottom of the 2nd, Carlos Fables leads off with a huge shot to left, 3-zip for the Royals. Then bottom of the 6th, it's all going to fall apart for the Yankees. Bases loaded, El Duque walks Beltran to force in a run. Then Mike Stanton in relief, no better. The pass to Johnny Damon, 5-1, another chance.
Systems is one.
I know.